It's Tom, our Superintendent, Bellevue Community School District in Bellevue, Iowa, coming you with this week's Believe in the Blue update, board meeting update from Monday evening. But I want to remind you tomorrow, our school picture day for PK on up that way. So one that lets you know of that way. Some ordering information has been sent home, but it's also available online. Also online are the comment highlights and notes from this month's board meeting that I'm going to review quickly, along with a various amount of attachments that way and things like that. We had some open enrollments. You can read about those online, but we did have some recommendations to hire, which were approved. One of those was Gary Peniston as our head boys soccer coach. We are starting a boys and girls soccer program, and I'll get into a little bit of detail on that later on. But Gary Peniston will be our boys coach. He was approved at the meeting. Clint Mickles will be coaching middle school girls basketball, and then Craig Ryder is our middle school class sponsor. Just want to let you know a few of those things. As far as common curriculum, we went over the Iowa State assessments of student progress. Looking at those are also available online. You can looking at where students are at elementary level, middle school, high school level, in comparison to the last few years for that cohort group or semi-cohort group that way through the years, recognizing we missed the year 2020 with tests. So for example, our 11th graders, the scores you would look at there would be 11th grade, 10th grade, and 8th grade. That's this year's seniors technically, but they missed the test there 1 year. So we reviewed those. We approved the cash report that our business manager submitted that way and talked to us about. Actually, Penny Meaninger did a great job explaining that. We were deficit spending about $31,633.90 this year. We actually anticipated more than that to be a deficit spending, which only overspending by 31,000 is very good considering we knew we were going to do that. And we have a healthy unspent balance right now that we are looking to provide services for our students. So this is a very good thing for us in many ways, providing services for our students. Enrollment update, I provided that for the board as well. We are going to be up right now. We're up about 21 students at the elementary. Middle school, high school is maybe down about 4 or 5 students, but those numbers fluctuate by week for sure, but also by day. Official count is October 1st. Everything's submitted by October 15th. So by October 15th, I'll have a pretty good grasp of where we're at educationally with enrollment and how that ultimately impacts our funding. The more students we have, the more funding we get. The less students or declining enrollment, the less funding we get. So just recognizing that. We also talked about a facilities advisory committee meeting. The next meeting for that group of about 30 to 40 people is going to be on Wednesday, October 5th. Just kind of following up with some background that was laid about the Corinne Elementary building, looking now more at what are the future plans and what are we going to do and gaining input from that. And there will be other general public meetings to come in and visit the school, visit about information, talk about information, share perspectives in the upcoming months or weeks that way. Bond capacity and costs, interest rates have went up. Therefore, our capacity for bonding and spending as a whole has went down, unfortunately, without impacting tax rates any more than what they can. So we also are trying to be very fiscally responsible in our actions that way. And you'll see that happening as we go through this process and what we're going to do and what's going to be the best model for our students, for our district as a whole. We also talked about some other needs we have in regard to busing. We're going to need to order a route bus this year and next year both. We've kind of been delaying some of those as much as possible. We used to do every year, several years ago. Now we've been going every other year, even some years every 3 years. Well, things are starting to catch up a little bit that way, but we're also trying to use the taxpayer money in a very fiscally responsible and conservative manner as well. With that, we're also going to need a route bus eventually, along with another Suburban. We have one Suburban that was ordered, or actually it was approved about a year ago now, and it still has been delivered. They are manufacturing them now. We anticipate that coming in October or November, for sure by December, right? Something like that way. But it's been fine. We knew that when we ordered it was going to take a while as well. Our architects, our engineers, OPN have been working on some things, trying to figure out where we're at financially, what we can do with their bonding capacity for a 270 bond capacity, is about $11.6 million, a 405 bond, meaning two questions, which we're really trying to stay away from, gets us up to around $17.5 million. But we also have some save funds we can use and some physical plant equipment levy. Save us the 1 cent money, the physical plant equipment levies to PEPL. We can use those, but that takes away some other projects we're planning that way too. So we will likely look at potentially at least using one of those funds to help fund things overall. Also talk about daycare and wraparound rooms that way for our building in the future, or what we can do with facilities we already have by building on or adding a different building, whether that's at the current location or at the middle school, high school location, and really looking at that. Then safety, we've installed the doors locked. I have a monitor on them from the outside for both buildings right now, working out some details with that and how things are going. We're actually having safety training today. Students get out early. We're having some safety training for our teachers this afternoon. We actually had lockdowns this morning for students. We had a drill of an intruder coming through the building or trying to get into the building. They were not able to get into either building, which is very good. Our doors were locked and people would not let them in without permission. So that was a positive in that way. Extracurricular updates, and we have football and volleyball season are well in motion. We also talked about soccer. At the August meeting, the board had decided that we wanted to have our own boys and girls soccer program at Bellevue High School, as the River Valley Conference is doing that, and being a member of that conference and a longtime member of that conference, as long as it's been around, we wanted to be involved with that. So we decided to create a boys and girls soccer team, offered the opportunity to Marquette to share that soccer team with us. They have proposed to allow us to host one of the genders, and they wanted to host the other gender. Our board discussed that at the meeting and decided that's not the route they want to go, although they still want to be able to share with Marquette in soccer. And the proposal they're putting out there, the board is offering, or the Bellevue Community School District is offering, to create a unified program with Marquette Catholic being a partner in the program, going by the name Bellevue United, Bellevue FC or Bellevue Football Club, kind of soccer terms there, United and Football Club. The Bellevue Community School District would host both the boys and girls programs in the RVC, or the River Valley Conference. And we would be responsible for all fees, facilities, transportation, equipment, other related items, officials and payment for them on down the line. So that offer has been made to Marquette. We do expect a response back from them by September 25th. That's Friday, September 25th. I believe they have a board meeting next week, and we have talked about that. We have talked about that being Mr. Raker and Mr. Boniface and myself met with Mr. Kaiser and Mr. Storm on the phone yesterday to share this and to share information, answer any questions that they may have. So we expect an answer, and we hope that they will join us in this Bellevue United soccer program for our students in our community, the youth in our community. Next, so Iowa School Board Convention here, that's going to be held in November. Mike Reed is going to be the delegate for that conference that way. Other board members may attend as also. We approved a bread bid from Bimbo Bakery in Dubuque. Prices have went up, imagine that, like everything else, but it's still a good deal for us as a whole, and they're the only bidder we have. We approved a new wellness policy, and that is also an attachment, so you can see that way as well. But we approved a new wellness policy. Our school nurse, Kelly Humphrey, was highly involved with that, along with several other members of our school and community with that. Also approved modified allowable growth, a special education deficit to the school budget review committee. And that's just a typical thing that we do each year based on new students coming into the district or increased enrollment. That's part of it that way, and any deficit we have for special ed to help us handle that deficit. We have been very fortunate through the years with no special education deficit. This year we have a small deficit, which about 80 to 85% of the school districts in the state of Iowa have that way. So feel very fortunate about that, and we're handling that very well. We approved a variety of board policies to keep up with legal requirements that are necessary. Also shared an article about for comment reading and reflection from PDK International, Fidela Capin. This one talked about school security and how parents across the nation would advocate for metal detectors, but would not advocate for teachers or other staff with weapons in schools. Goes through a variety of other information in there too, but you're welcome to read that. That's in the comment highlights. On the website is all. You just go to the main page, then click on comment highlights, and then you'll see all kinds of information come up that way. I encourage you to read that. I also talked about transportation, the amount of miles that we drive in a year and the amount of miles that are driven in the state of Iowa per year. We drive 83,942 miles, over almost 85,000 miles on routes for students on a yearly basis. We travel over 46,000 non-route miles to activity events and things like that. Nationally, it's 30, or across the state of Iowa, it's 36.8 million miles are traveled, and then 10.3 million non-route miles are traveled. Let's talk about sportsmanship. Our school district was one of about 54.6% of districts that did not have a coach or player ejected from a game. That is great news for us. I am very perplexed. Actually, the number is 56.7% who have not had that happen. And I'm very perplexed at that. That is a disappointing number in many ways. That little over half the school districts in the state of Iowa have had someone someone get kicked out of a game. So let me rephrase that. 56.7% of the Iowa high school membership had no student athletes or coaches ejected during the 21-22 school year. So almost half of the school district state of Iowa, schools in the state of Iowa, have had someone ejected. We need to do a better job of role modeling, all of us, including myself, and all of you listening to this. We can all improve in that regard. So just recognizing that. And professional learning, I shared a professional learning survey of the time in August that our staff took that way and participated in. And ultimately, our next meeting is on Monday, October 10th, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out anytime. And in the future, I plan on having some guests join me on the Believe in the Blue updates, and you'll see those soon. So we'll go from there. Have a great one, everyone.